Hey, keep it down over there. People are trying to live stream. Greetings, programs, and welcome to another edition of Designing a Jedi. I am your host, Digital Jedi, coming to you presumably live from Jedi Temple 1. It looks like we have gotten the majority of our Jedi design down, and I don't know. I mean, what do you think? If you were with us in our last edition, you know that I added some details. I grabbed a what did we learn the name of this was? It is called a light cycle staff. Is that what it's called? Light cycle staff. We grabbed one of these lights. I named it light cycle stick. It's actually called something else, and stuck it on the side here of my digital Jedi, and it actually looks like it would basically work as something that doubles as a lightsaber and a light cycle. Now the question is, should I have? You know what? A Jedi should be able to control his light cycle through the Force. I'm thinking. So we'll probably do something like that. Let me pull up my live stream chat window and stream health thing. I have to do these on separate computers because this computer cannot handle the burden of all this computer stuff. Stream health says the stream health's good. In the corner, there's a little hurricane warning. Look, weather's bad, and here by the temple, the weather's been kind of dreary. What am I looking at here? Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. We want this layer. Yeah. So I'm going to be sluggish today. There's just no getting around it. My head does not especially function when we are. Why does my live stream look so slow? Why am I seeing? I'm seeing delayed images on my stream. Are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? How did that happen? Let's see something here. I forget how to change this. That's weird because the program's been... Actually, I forgot to turn it off last night. Why is it just capturing this window? Better? My stream's got a delay, so I don't know if it's caught up to you guys yet. But, yeah, looks like it. Sorry about that to anyone who was watching. Okay. Okay, yeah. My stream's catching up now. So, anyway... yes, welcome back to another edition of Designing a Jedi. As we discussed yesterday, we're going to come up with some sort of variation on the light cycle staff to double as a lightsaber. Makes for an interesting concealed weapon, I think. Nobody asked you. Sorry, a little have a little child who's home from, who's not in school today, which he should be. Let's drag this back behind the colors layer. And get rid of this. Get rid of the inks and the colors of this thing. So as I mentioned before, yeah, we're getting really bad weather here. We're way far north of the hurricane, but the bad weather is still reaching us, and then there's that whole Jose thing. So yeah, it has an effect on my little child, who has some brain and seizure issues. So she's gonna be a little bit noisy today. Just kind of the bad weather agitates her, and I can't honestly say that I ain't feeling some stuff either. I have felt sluggish all day today. I mean, do we even want to comment on what time I'm finally getting started today? No? Good, because we're not going to do that. There used to be a filter I could apply to stuff to kind of make it look like it was kind of hand-drawn. Might do that just because I don't want to draw these just yet. I don't want to draw these by hand just yet. Let's do that again. As I said, this is not like a finalized photo. This is just to get the design down and see how we want this to look. That's kind of awesome looking. I think I'm gonna go with that. That is the touch that this was missing. The finishing touch this was missing. For anyone new to the stream, what we were doing here is designing a Jedi for my YouTube channel art. This is a visual representation of me, a digital Jedi. I got the idea while I was in the middle of doing these live streams to actually, instead of doing a standard Jedi design, do a Jedi that is Tron inspired, and therefore, you know, connect to the digital Jedi theme that I've had for decades, and for some reason only thought about here this last month. More words that I can't bring to my head because of the bad weather. More succinctly, more directly, more thematically. One of those. Interesting. Did I actually not? Let's create another one of these. This one will bring forward a little bit. We'll bring it in front of the inks. Yeah. Makes for a pretty dynamic visual, I think. I think for the most part we've got the look down that we want. Just trying to give that a kind of a hand-drawn outline. It's a little rough. I have a layer mask applied to this, which is why we're getting some debris and stuff over here. It's not perfectly hidden, so we'll just deal with that later. And as I point out in every single live stream, I have a low resource computer that does not like some of the tools that Photoshop has in it being used, and it just locks Photoshop up unless I do this. And for whatever reason, it instantly unfreezes. But it won't if I don't toggle between windows. Yeah, man, I think I'm digging most of this. I think the only thing that I might change are these little ridges over here, or maybe just draw them better in another design. I do feel like that there needs to be something there, but not necessarily more glows, but more etchings in the costume. But I like the idea that it looks a little bit less traditional than what you would actually see in Tron Legacy, that you'd see on the grid, and that it kind of has some Jedi aspects to it. Yeah, I'm still not sure about these things. I'm gonna go with discs. Still not sure if I'm going to go with discs or with circles. I might go with discs, with discs or jewel type things. Yeah, I'll do something like this, a diamond or a triangle or something. So whatever it is not neither one of these is really working for me right now. I like this in the back though. I think I'm okay with the circle. Either one of these circles is fine. The lightsaber design I'm cool with. I just wish I'd done something more chest shaped over here. It's supposed to be kind of reminiscent of the cartoon lightsaber that I have in my logo on my YouTube channel. But you can actually see the artwork on my YouTube channel. Let's see. I actually may be able to show you the original artwork I did. I think this is it. Yeah, this is the original Jedi design that I had, and I mean, I was designing it within this page right here, and it just wasn't working. So, and then I ended up doing this. During one of the recent live streams, I got the idea to the Tron thing, so I started changing the colors to grays and adding the light glows, and that was not working. So went from that to this, and I said, look, let's just grab some Bruce Timm character sheets and trace over it and get a costume design worked out. And I think I'm pretty happy with what we got here. Ordinarily, I'd have these mistakes filled in if I was working on a for real project, but I've let a lot of mistakes here go because this is just a design, not a this is just a template for how the images should look. And not art that I'm going to use in any actual graphics or anything like that. I'm really surprised that some of the inking came out so thin here. I'm wondering if I maybe didn't, no? That's my usual document size, 8 by 10, 300 pixels per inch. It's kind of, I don't know if it's necessarily, if you should necessarily work in any particular size when you're doing, if you're accustomed to working on a pad and paper. But I was used to drawing pictures on 8x10 paper. I almost never drew, and I almost never used 8x11 paper. A little bit before I got into digital artwork, but yeah, geez, it just felt more natural to work on 8x10, so I always work on 8x10 now. Unless I'm doing a comic book page, and then I will actually scale the image to 11x17, and I'm almost always working at 300 pixels per inch. I think that's not too large, not too little. You do lose some detail. You're always going to lose some detail, but it's high resolution enough that you're going to be able to get you should be able to print it without losing a lot of detail. And if you're just going to go with a reduced image on the web, it's still going to look pretty good when you reduce the size. You're not going to lose a lot of detail. Yeah, I'm kind of digging this. I hate my signature. Let me zoom in to write this. I've never been able to write this right. Use black. The way I've been signing my name for ever since I was a little kid, ever since I learned cursive, been signing my name this way. I have a terrible signature for artwork. Some guys have a great art signature. Bruce Timm has a great signature for artwork. His really works. Mine just doesn't really have that your signature has to have some compositional properties too, and mine doesn't. But yeah, like I said, I'm digging this look so far. So let's do something that we will need to do when we do the final product, and let's decide what the shading on these grays are going to look like. So I do shading a number of different ways, but most of the time I do shading with a, let's see, let's put the shading, let's put it below the inks layer. Usually outside of the colors layer in my case. And what we're going to do is create a soft light layer. This doesn't work for every color, but I like it because it's fast. And you can pretty much select all the colors at once and get every color you need. And then you can draw over it if you need to. So change the layer to soft light. And we're not going to worry about the backgrounds right now, but if you need to, you can select the layer, just the color that you're working on. Hence the reason that I changed it to soft light. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, it looks like I did not color that ear on that layer. So let's see, this brush is a little bit awkward for this kind of stuff. Let's do something that comes to a point. Well, sometimes it works. This one's good too. I have a number of different brushes that I use. They're all custom. If you haven't experimented with making your own brushes in Photoshop, seriously, look up a tutorial. Just the next time you just practicing or you're doing something for fun, just look up a tutorial and see how that's done and learn what the different tools do, because man, you will find that you're gonna hit certain projects that will just, you'll greatly benefit if you have your own custom brushes. So something that's bugging me right now, where did I color this ear? I put this ear on the hair layer. I'm going to remove it from the hair layer, put it back on the skin layer. Okay, and I'm gonna fill in some of this skin color because it is driving me nuts to see these little gaps. And the hair layer. Okay, back to my soft light layer. And one of the things that you can do with soft light is you don't, I think this is what I was going to say earlier, you don't necessarily have to select your colors if your background is white, because this does not show over white. It'll show when you like close the layer, so you'll see it right there. But when soft light, black is drawn on a soft light layer over white, there's nothing to see. See my ear right here? So you'll want to consider that if you're you know, if you're going to be doing backgrounds in your picture, which I'm not here, as this is just a template. I'm going to draw in a little bit of detail here. Oh, I'm sorry, ink slayer. Ah, the pen tool is the one that freezes up the most often. Kind of gave myself Superman's eyes, didn't I? I'm not sure if Superman is the first Bruce Timm character that didn't have whites of his eyes. He's just the first Bruce Timm character I noticed didn't have whites of his eyes. Whereas, you know, Bruce Wayne has lines that completely enclose the eyes. As far as I knew, most of his characters did, but then when we got to Superman the Animated Series and when he started doing the more angular artwork, we got the skin-colored eyes, which is, you know, it's legit. It's a legit look. It's a legit artistic style. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. just darkening these lines up a bit. I used a very thin tool at the time, very thin pen stroke at the time, and just didn't notice how thin it was until I backed out. Facial features were kind of indistinct. All right, so let's try our soft light stuff her. I am curious as to why my selection is not showing. Oh, because I'm selecting the wrong layer. No hard, fast rules here. We're just experimenting with the light source. You know, I studied this in a Bern Hogarth book. In the early 90s, I consumed pretty much every Bern Hogarth book there was. I think I might be missing 2 or 3. While I'm looking over here, I'm seeing dynamic figure drawing, dynamic anatomy, dynamic wrinkles and drapery, drawing dynamic hands, drawing the human head. Apparently, I have most of them. I think the lighting was the one that I had to check out from the library. I didn't have the money for, but yeah, almost every Bern Hogarth book there was, because I really wanted to get my anatomy down. It was just bad in the 90s. I mean, it was really bad. So I worked at it, and I still don't feel comfortable with lighting. I definitely, understand it better than I did, but it's just one of those things that I still feel like I have a little bit of weakness on, and that's fine. You know what? You should never feel too confident, because if you feel too confident, you run the risk of never growing. Man, I must have been using a weird brush that day, because it just did not solidly stroke the lines. I'm not used to having so many gaps. Usually my black lines are solid black when I use the pen tool. I wonder, I betcha I used this brush right here, which is actually a pencil with 38%, not with 38, I'm supposed to use 38% opacity when I use it, but it's a pencil. It's not a solid line. That's where things must have went awry. I'm getting sick of seeing these dots. Let's go to layer. We're just gonna refill this area here. So X. Let's select this, and did we freeze? We froze. It's not so much that Photoshop freeze. What it does is the tool freezes, and you just, whenever you move the particular tool you have active, no matter where you do it, all you've got is that tool, and none of the menus work. So That's much better. I was getting tired of erasing that ish. I wonder if this is what I meant to have here. Looks like I meant to have that there instead. Yeah, that makes sense. Should be wrapped around more than it was. And it looks like it stops before it goes all the way around, so that's cool right there too, the little cut right there. Whoops, not white, black. Oh, now I understand why I've been seeing so much transparency in these lines. I inked them with a pencil tool without realizing it. So I'm just going to restroke some of these so I don't feel so I'm not so irritated by it all the time. That's definitely a mistake you don't want to make when doing an actual project, a project that you're going to publish, because you'll have to go back and just re-examine that whole project more closely. Now I know why that was driving me nuts. Alright. And you know what's driving me nuts too? Hold on, let me grab this. This lightsaber thing here, this lightsaber icon, it's just... I don't know why I left it that way. It's bugging the heck out of me. So let's fix it. I think what the problem here was is that I had a layer, I had the pencils layer still showing underneath this, and I was letting it influence where I was putting the pen tool, even though it was drawn badly. So one of the things you gotta try to get over is sometimes if you draw something badly, you should either redraw it, or when you get to a stage where you're going to be inking over it, turn the pencil layers off and fix your image. Just let it go. Let the old design go, because it might just completely wreck what you're trying to do. Fortunately, since this is Photoshop, which noisy little thing. Fortunately, since this is Photoshop, you can make a lot of changes. But you want to save yourself some time. And that is also one of the purposes of Photoshop, is to cut down your production time. Especially if you're working in commercial work. Or if you just, you want to move on to other things. You're a busy person. Got stuff to do. Take a look at that other one. It's kind of more narrow than that. How far down does it go? A little bit of a gap. A little bit of a gap between there. Mm-hmm. Still would like, let's see, something more like that, perhaps. And I really would like, come on, come on, Photoshop, be a good Photoshop. Wow, now even the keys are not working. Ah, well, look at that. That's actually the first time I've had that happen. Yeah, we got it. It stopped working. How about you actually shut it down so that I can restart it? Let's see if I have trouble restarting it. Sometimes when it does that, it will not start back up unless I restart my computer. But if I fudge with it a bit, it tells me the installation is damaged. Like I said, this is not a good computer. This is a hand-me-down computer. It was my wife's and she just got it for school. It's not got the specs that I would want, but it's, you know, it's it's what I wanted. I mean, it's what I had access to. So I didn't learn my lesson. I may have mentioned this a few shows back, but I have always been a proponent of making sure that you always save your work every few minutes, and honestly, that is a habit that I have had for decades. Constantly save my work, constantly save my work, constantly give my wife ish for not saving it, and since I've started YouTubing, I've been working in a program called Lightworks, the free version. And while that program has a steep learning curve, it does have one really great function. You do not have, not only do you not have to save, there is no save. Like, there's no file menu. You just work, and it preserves a number of undo states based on something set in the configuration file, and yeah, that's it. You don't save. You just work. And it actually has broken me of my habit of saving my work. Because I've been working it for so many months trying to get the YouTube channel off the ground. It was pretty much the only program that I had been working in for wow, I just realized my channel's been up for about 2 years now. I mean, about a year, over a year now. And yeah, I just forgot to do it. So I gotta try to remember to do that. This is my recovered document. Yeah, that's fine. Just take the recovered out. I just looked at the old one and I saw it was not right. So had a much older save point in it. Alright, so what I really want to do here is fix this. Probably left Photoshop open. Leaving Photoshop open all night is not ideal. And again, a lot of sticking. Wow, that bar is way out of camera, way out of frame. I'm not entirely sure I know why I'm having trouble with this part here. This is just something about this is bugging me. Huh. Yeah, let's go with that. And then down here, you know what? Let's redraw this. And let's use no handlebars. Yeah, much less annoying. Not as long as that one, but you know, what you're gonna do. Make it longer. That's what you're gonna do. Yeah. There. Now I'm so much less annoyed by it. I wonder if I can cartoonify these pictures I snagged from the internet here. It's been a long time since I did this. How did I do this? I used to grab a, was it Distort? I think it was on the old menu. The old menu used to have these brushes. Where did they move? Did they move this stuff? Looks like it's not there no more. Like plastic wrap and the mosaic and there's mosaic. There were some other brushes that you used to be able to kind of create, other filters that used to be able to kind of create brush strokes over an image, and I don't see those anymore. So yeah, maybe noise. That's still not what I'm looking for. Well, we'll just have to Google it another day. Before I go ahead and add shading to those other things, I kind of want to look at the shading that I snagged from back here from the Bruce Timm drawing. Let's close the layer with the pants. Yeah, I could have done something like that, but well, I mean, theoretically you could. Well, why would you want to? I'm not gonna. Let's close that character template layer. Let's go to my soft light layer. Like black. A decent brush that's not a pencil. Unless you were going for, we're going for that cell shaded look. This is why I prefer these brushes. Hide that. It's a little too dark. And that's one of the reasons why you might want to pick a different color. Let's use the actual color and see what it does. Still kind of dark. Let's go with lighter gray then. What's my brush doing? Oh, my brush just slipped off screen. And it's still off screen. One sec, folks. That's one of the side effects of using mouse without borders and a tablet. If you've got the pen tool active and you get a little too far off screen, it just goes over to the next screen, and it's a pain in the butt to get it back for some reason. Your tablet doesn't know what to do when you have a mouse sharing program active. At least this version of my tablet doesn't. Look at these jacked up pants. Let's fix these. Probably should have been a line going up here, I'm thinking. Or something like that. Unless I'm wearing hammer pants. But you know, you see some of the stuff Jedi wear. It's not unlikely. Ultimately, this might not be the shading I go with when I actually do the artwork, but it's good to experiment. Actually, I want this brush, but I want the angle to be different. I'm still debating if I should create each of my angled brushes with multiple angles, so I can just select them when I need them. I don't do it that often, but I probably should. And therefore just having the brushes ready would be more advantageous. Why did that why it gets crazy sometimes. You guys need to kind of go in your own folder. Kind of driving me nuts. Lots of stuff driving me nuts today. Must be the hurricane. So, I think I've been on here quite a bit longer than I intended. I was only supposed to do 30 minutes today because I'm, as per usual, running super late. So, we're going to wrap up here in just a sec. But Thanks for joining. If you are on the live stream and I just can't see you, and YouTube is just deceiving me when it says only 2 people are watching, and they're both me. But if you're watching the re-recording, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel so that you can see more stuff like this. You can watch the reaction videos me and Mrs. Digital Jedi do. Click the bell notification icon so that you will be notified when I do go live, because I am not on a consistent schedule with this. So I am doing it every day, but I'm having trouble getting to it at the exact same time every day. This week I've been getting to it around 2 and 3. My original schedule, my original plan was to get to it around 8. So we'll see how that all works out in the end. But at the very least, if you have the bell icon notified, selected, you'll be notified about it. You also won't get your notifications blown up because I don't upload that often, but I do have plans to get a more consistent schedule soon. So if you subscribe and tick that icon, you will be notified when I do start uploading videos on a more consistent basis. And if I start blowing you stuff up, then you can turn the bell icon off. But I appreciate the subscriptions and I appreciate the views most of all. Hoping to make this channel a little bit more successful here in the coming year. And I plan on doing a lot more than just reaction videos. I have a small sampling of that already up, such as my A Matter of Perspective review series, which is me talking about movies that I've watched, but from my own perspective, which is probably quite different from what people out there are saying. Or it might be exactly the same, but I like to think that I'm offering a different viewpoint than what is popular. I also have some commentary videos, trailer breakdowns, and I just have a lot more stuff coming down the road. Just all kinds of entertainment related to geekdom. I think you'll enjoy it. So subscribe and give me a shot. And thanks for joining. You can watch the other videos I did here on my YouTube channel. Look for the playlist called Designing a Jedi. They're currently all unlisted, but I may change that in the future. But you can find them in the playlist called Designing a Jedi. And yeah, I think I'm going to wrap that up for today. And tomorrow we'll do a little bit more cell shading. We'll experiment with it a little bit more. And we'll go ahead and maybe start applying it to the actual YouTube channel art, or at least the template that it's supposed to be, the template that has my art in. So before I stutter anymore, thanks again, guys, and I will see you all on the grid. This is Digital Jedi saying peace out. Where'd my thing go?